Hello, thanks for joining me today. This is Danny, and welcome back to my modded 1.10.2 series and to our botanical gardens. Today we are going to be doing a little bit more with forestry. We're going to be making the alveary today. So I think we finally have enough resources to do our alveary. We bred our imperial bees and our industrious bees with the help of dentistry in an earlier episode. And we've had these guys going for quite a while, and they also, we have them working at night as well, because we added that trait with the help of dentistry again. So we've got quite a bit of pollen. We've got 12 stacks plus 30 of pollen, and royal jelly. We also have 12 stacks plus 6 of royal jelly. So I think we've got enough royal jelly and pollen to make a couple of alvearies. We're going to start with one, and we'll kind of talk about exactly what we're going to need as far as resources are concerned. So just real quickly, looking at the recipe, the alveary requires 27 alveary blocks. It is a multi-block structure, and it's a 3x3x3. And the alveary block requires an impregnated casing and 8 scented paneling. So this is going to get pretty expensive as we dig into this. So the impregnated casing, that's probably going to be our cheapest piece, requires 8 wood and 250 millibuckets of seed oil. So that's a quarter of a bucket. So basically what that's going to mean is, all in all, we are going to need 216 logs, because 8 times 27 is 216, and we're going to need a whopping 6,750 millibuckets of seed oil. So that is 6.750 buckets, well, 6 3/4 buckets, whatever, which equates to about 675, not about, exactly 675 seeds. So so that's what we're going to need for that. And then the scented paneling, we're actually going to need 216 scented panelings, because once again, 27 times 8 is still 216. So that means we're going to need 216 royal jelly. So we've definitely got enough to make at least one of these. 216 pollen clusters. 532 beeswax. And then of course we're going to need 684 wood planks of any kind. And then we're going to need 500 millibuckets of honey. So this is liquid honey that we get from the squeezer, and one honey drop gives us 100 millibuckets, and one honeydew gives us 100 millibuckets. So that means we're going to need 1,080 honey drops and or honeydew dripping combs. And that, see, those will give us a 100% chance of honeydew. So we'll get 1.4 out of each of these dripping combs on average. So I think we're going to be okay. So infrastructure. We've got some of our infrastructure already. We've got our squeezer. That's how we're going to get our seed oil. And like I said, we're going to need... What did I say? 675 seeds. Oh boy, and I am running out of seeds. And we cannot use rice seeds. They have to be either vanilla, beetroot seeds, or pumpkin seeds. I believe we can also use melon seeds. Okay, so we need about 10.5 stacks of seeds. It turns out I had a lot of pumpkin seeds, so that works out nicely. And then we need about 3.5 stacks of wood. Oh, we already had a bunch in here. Let's get rid of that and set up our recipe in the carpenter. So 3.5 stacks, about. So as soon as it has 250 or however much it needed. Yeah, as soon as it has 250, it's going to make the first one. Oh, we got to get rid of these sticks. So while that's going on, we can start grabbing a bunch of our combs and making... and throwing them in the centrifuge. We may as well grab as many as we can. There, and we'll just throw these in the centrifuge. Oh, you know what? Oh boy, we gotta empty that out. Oh, we already have a bunch of stuff in here, so that's cool. I'm gonna need some way to automatically pipe stuff into that. So I guess I'm gonna put these back for now. Hey, Oh, there wasn't enough room. So I'm gonna grab I'm just gonna grab a chest and a pipe. Because I think, no, we don't. Yeah, whatever. Let's use a nature chest. That's fitting for forestry, right? Nature, forestry, all that. And we'll put the chest. It has to be 1 block away from it so that we can use whatever. I'll just put it on top of there. This is temporary. Conduits. Just gonna grab 1 item conduit because that's all we need. And we're going to extract. Always active. Insert. Okay. And oh, you know what? Let's do in and out. Yeah, let's do, actually we should be able to just do in and out. Always active. In and out. Whoops. I already had that set to always active. And it should actually pull everything out of here. And the only thing that it should allow back in are the combs. I hope that doesn't bite us in the butt, but we'll see. Okay. So I should be able to go like this. And then just let that go. So while we're waiting for that stuff, I set up another squeezer and another carpenter over here so that we can make our honey. And we're going to need, well, like I said, 1080 honey drops or honeydew, which is 16 stacks plus 56, so almost 17 stacks. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, and that many. Let's do 5. Actually, let's just work with full stacks for now so that we can keep track of things a little bit more easily. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's just about half of what we need. So that should get us honey, which should end up going right into this carpenter. Because we're going to need a lot of honey, so we may as well get that started right away while we're waiting for this. Our impregnated casings are almost done. We have 23, we need 27. And our centrifuging is going on. And probably will be for a little while. Yay, we have our 27 impregnated casings. I'm just going to throw these in a crafting table right in the center. Because that's, look at that. Because that's where we're going to need them. What are you doing here? I hate to kill a friendly spider, but he probably won't be friendly for long. Okay, this is, oh wait a minute, we need some more. We need more beeswax, and we're not getting beeswax from these guys. I mean, wait. We're not getting beeswax from these guys. No. Can we get beeswax from these guys? No. Okay, so, oh boy. Alright, we have 4 plus 14 stacks of beeswax. We're going to need 8 stacks plus 20, so a total of 532 beeswax. So we're going to need 4 more stacks plus 6. What gives us beeswax? Mossy, red, purple. We just need regular ones, so I think I'll just throw in some like common bees or something like that. I have so many extra industrious drones, well, and imperial drones, that I'm going to play this little game for a while until I get a whole bunch of mossy combs. I already got quite a few of them. Usually I only need to do it once, spectral, spectral, so we know that the other avenging is there, and the 2 spectral are there. So I just go until I find a match, and then I will click 1, examine the species, and then I know where the other one is from that, because I'm doing the Marshy Queen, and there aren't many. Because the Marshy Queen is a simpler bee, we only have to do 3 matches. It's kind of busy worky, but just something to do to pass the time while I'm waiting. I'm just going to do these mossy combs so that we can get some more beeswax. I also put some forest drones in here, or actually I put some common bees in here so that we can get some regular honeycombs, because those will also get us beeswax. Okay, let's get this guy started. So a royal jelly, a pollen cluster, 3 wood planks, and 2 beeswax gets us a scented paneling. So this should get us a stack. Much time has passed and I now finally have enough stuff to make 27 Alveary blocks. Hooray, there we are. I did end up with, 36 extra wood planks. So somewhere along the line I must have miscalculated. So, but no big deal. I mean, that's really the cheapest of all the resources that we were using. So we're going to set this up in a 3x3x3. I don't know. Yeah, let's just try this and see. I don't know if we have enough sky exposure here, but we'll see. So 3x3 by 3. And yes, you do have to fill the middle block. Then we have to, actually we can take these guys, take these planks, we can take any planks. We're going to need 9 of these, of course. And hooray, there we have our Alveary. So if we right click on our Alveary, we will see that here's our interface. We have no queen, our temperature is normal, and our bees need flowers. Well, yeah. So great. So we have an aviary, right? But it's really, really freaking big. It takes up a lot of space. It cost us millions and millions of resources, and it took us all freaking day to make. So what, right? The benefit of the Alveary is that it is much faster than the apiaries, even with the frames. Unfortunately, we cannot put frames in here, and using just regular forestry, there's actually no way to get frames in an alveary. But there are other things that we can do with the alveary that we cannot do with the apiary. For instance, here's our tropical queen. As we can see, our tropical queen requires a warm climate and a damp climate. So if we try to put her in one of our aviaries, it's going to say, no, it's too cold, and it's too dry, and it's, well, it's not daytime. We'll change that. And if we put her in here, it's going to tell us the same thing. It's too freaking cold, man. These bees are huddled together to survive the freezing cold here. Use a habitat locator to find a warmer climate. And it's too dry. The dry climate here has made these bees parched and unable to work. Use a habitat locator to find a wetter climate, whatever. We're not going to do that, but what we are going to do is we are going to make an alveator heater to heat things up, and we're going to make a alveator hydro regulator. But in order to do that, we're going to have to break our alveator already. We just built it. So we're just going to grab a couple of the blocks. Let's just start with 2. I don't know if that's going to be enough, but we'll start with 2 and see what that does for us. So the first thing we're going to need, and the reason we're going back to the house, is because we have to use our thermionic fabricator. Because in order to make the alveator heater, we're going to need 2 golden electron tubes, which we make in the thermionic fabricator, like so, with this stuff, and then we put the stuff down here, and we end up getting golden electron tubes. And I think we needed 500 liquid glass, which I think is actually 1 piece of glass or sand. So then, actually, we can just throw that in here. Whoops. Yeah, whatever. Let's just throw all that in there. We'll throw our alveary blocks in there. And there is our alveator heater. And then we want to make our alveator hydro regulator, which will allow us to adjust the humidity in either direction. So the heater, we just stick right here. And actually, I think we're going to need to power that. And then the alveator hydro regulator we put right there. So now everything is back to normal. However, if we put our queen in here, we're gonna see that she's still too cold and she's still too dry, and that is because this guy needs RF and this guy needs water. So if we right click on it, we'll see we can put a bucket in here and we'll get either lava, crushed ice. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't even know about the crushed ice, but either lava or water. And what that'll do is it'll increase the humidity, but it will also decrease the heat. And that's why I wasn't sure whether one alveator heater will be enough. It'll increase humidity by 20%. So that'll bring our humidity up to 60%. And it'll decrease our heat by 10%, bringing us down to 70. But then this guy is going to increase our heat by... I'm not sure exactly. I guess we'll find out in a second here once we go like this. We're going to need an enhanced energy conduit just because that's what we're running over here. Let go. What are you doing? Okay, so we see that is taking power now. And if we click up here, we should see 99%. Now the too cold thing is gone and it's just saying it's too dry. So we could, like for fun, we could grab a bucket. And stick it there. It'll empty it into there, but now we can see it's consuming the water. And we don't want to have to keep running over here and putting buckets in there, but if we look in here, we should see it's still too dry. Okay. So it looks like we're going to need a little bit more. That brought us up to 59. Bee suits. Oh yes, we might need bee suits because these guys are going to poison us. But that's okay. We have poison and we have regen all in the same area, so we might be okay. But what we can do here is we can pipe water in. Alright, so I've got my reservoir here. We set this up earlier when we set up our carpenter up there. And I'm just piping pressurized fluid conduits, piping water right into the hydro regulator. There we go. And it's filled up right away. Awesome. So our humidity should go up in a bit, but our heat is going to go down. So it's probably going to end up being too cold, which means we're probably going to end up requiring another alveator heater. Too cold, too dry. Alright, so I've got 3 hydro regulators and 2 heaters, which brings us up to 89% heat, 97% damp. That should be good. There we have it. We finally have a home for our tropical queen. Hooray! We don't seem to be getting poisoned at the moment, so that's... What? So I'm just gonna take this guy. She poisoned me. And she poisoned a couple butterflies too. So I am going to take her into, we're going to kind of switch mods a little bit here to gendistry. We have our genetic imprinter, and I made these in the gendistry episode. But basically I have a genetic template here that has a shorter lifespan, effect none. Effect none is what we want. That'll get rid of the poison, and then fertility 3. And I'm just going to imprint this onto our queen. Now, someone did point out to me in the comments, and I was kind of wondering because I was having some issues with this before, but when you imprint the queen, you're only imprinting what would have been the princess, and you're not imprinting the drone. So it's possible that the offspring of this queen will not have these traits. So... But I just want to do this for now so that it's not poisoning stuff in the meantime. But as soon as this thing is done, we're going to go through that process again with the princess that we end up with and all the drones. And then we're also going to throw this one in here too, the never sleeps, just so that she'll be producing at night. So some of the other upgrades that we can add to the alveary, which we will do at some point in the future, are these guys. We have the sieve. Which basically, when bees are running around by forestry trees, they actually cross-pollinate them. And what the sieve will do is it will cause them to leave their, oh, we already got a silky comb. It will cause them to leave their pollen in the sieve so that we can use it for other purposes if we want to manually cross-pollinate our trees. And then the Alveary fan is just the opposite of the heater. It cools things off, so if we wanted to do like winter bees or our ender bees here, which this happens to be a cold biome in that particular block, so but if we didn't have that, we would use that for our ender bees or any other cold weather bees. Then we have the stabilizer. Now the stabilizer will prevent bees from mutating or de-evolving, I guess you could say. So for instance, if we had a hybrid, let's say we didn't have a purebred because maybe we don't have gendistry because we want to torture ourselves. So let's say that we have a hybrid imperial bee, and we don't have any purebreds. We could put that in here. So maybe it's a hybrid imperial and majestic or something like that. If we cross that with our drones that might also be imperial and majestic, we have a chance of ending up with a majestic queen and losing our imperial bee. The stabilizer will prevent that. You could also use it if you wanted to cross traits between bees. So for instance, you have some kind of bee, maybe I don't know, a common bee that has a trait that you really, really want, or maybe even an ender bee that has traits that you really, really want, like being nocturnal or something like that. And you have some imperial bees, and you want your imperial bees to be nocturnal, so you can crossbreed them in here with the stabilizer. And then the swarmer, the Alveary swarmer, will randomly generate hives around the Alveary, and the hives will be of the type of whatever bee you have in there. So you could have some kind of advanced bee, like an industrial bee or an imperial bee or whatever, in your Alveary, and you'll actually end up with the hives for that bee around the Alveary. Now there is a very low chance. It's got forced slots. You stick royal jelly in it, and the more royal jelly you put in there, the greater the chance that it will produce a hive. It's like 1% per royal jelly. So if you put 4 stacks in there, then you have a reasonably decent chance that will do that. And then the heater that we already did, and and then the hydro regulator. Now this guy, you can put lava in there. If you put lava in there, instead of increasing your humidity, it will decrease it, and it will increase the temperature. So if you wanted to do like desert bees or something, that's what you would use that for, or the nether bees, which we don't have. So yeah, now if you've played with forestry in the past, like in 1.7.10, you may remember that there used to be a lot more upgrades, things like the frame housing, where you could actually put frames in the Alveary. You might remember a bunch of other stuff. Well, that's not vanilla forestry. That is actually extra bees, and extra bees does not yet exist for 10.2. I mean 1.10.2, so we don't have that kind of stuff. So this is really all you can do with the Alveary at this moment in time with regular forestry. By the way, we can add upgrades to any one of the blocks in these bottom 2 rows, any of the outside blocks on the bottom 2 rows. So that would be a total of 16 different upgrades. We can't swap out the blocks up here, and we can't slap the we can't replace the blocks in the center either. So just the 16 in the bottom 2 rows. Probably make a few more of these, maybe a couple more of these, maybe just one more off camera, and have those ready for the next episode when we get back into forestry, when we are going to work toward getting nether quartz, which is really kind of what that's been my whole plan through this whole forestry thing, is getting free nether quartz, which will be pretty nice because we'll just have nether quartz coming in. We won't have to go to the nether to get it. It will cost us nothing. Well, I mean, it's cost us a tremendous amount of time and resources thus far. But once we get it all set up, it'll just be there, and we'll never have to worry about it again. No RF will be required. Nothing will be required. It'll just produce nether quartz for us, and we'll have that fully automated. In the next episode, we're going to do something a little different. We're either going to play with reliquary, as I've been saying for the last several episodes. But we do have a reliquary episode coming very soon. If not that, we might be playing around with some sort of RF generation. I haven't decided what yet. But I'm thinking that I want to do something with all of my apples, because I've got tons of freaking apples coming in. If you do have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below. And if you enjoy this, don't forget to click the like button, and we'll join me next time. I hope you do. Thanks for watching.